Welcome friends, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a brand new chill review. This time around I'm bringing you the long awaited review of the Solar X2.6. This is a brand new model for 2023 from Solar Guitars. This particular model and body shape is something I know has been long requested by fans of the Solar brand. So naturally, when it was announced, I thought to myself, I definitely have to get one of those in and see what's what. This is a unbiased review. I've not been asked to do it or compensated in any way. Those of you who are long-time subscribers of the channel will have seen hopefully some of my other Solar Guitars reviews. I've owned around half a dozen at this point, so hopefully that makes me somebody who is experienced enough to let you know what I think and if it's worth the kind of steep price tag that's currently being asked for it. When you look at the X shape of guitar, there is a really long lineage and a whole bunch of famous guitar players that are renowned for using this particular body shape. The most well-known of which undoubtedly is Dimebag Darrell from Pantera with his Dean ML. You also have Chuck from Death with his famous BC Rich kind of weird like curvy X-shaped guitar that he had as well. So this particular body shape is obviously something that's kind of focused around the more extreme end of heavy metal. You know, on this channel I like to talk about guitars in terms of, are they a stage guitar, are they a living room guitar, are they a recording guitar? You know, I kind of like to make up these subcategory of guitars, mostly to provide myself with excuses to buy more of them. This is undoubtedly a stage guitar, but nevertheless, ergonomics are crucial with any guitar, but especially an X shape like this. You may look at this thing and initially think, man, that looks like a real pain in the ass to handle. In some regards, you would be correct. First of all, this thing is not easy to just store. Unless you want to put it away in a case where it's not going to be seen anywhere, really your only options for placing this thing somewhere and kind of having some good chance of it not getting damaged is to either have it on a wall hanger or like this on a freestanding guitar stand. You can't put this in a normal rack like I have behind me because the upper horn sticks out so much and digs into the ground. You're just asking for chips and things like that to happen. But the next most important question really is, what is it like to sit and play with? Now, this may surprise you, but it's actually really quite comfortable. Sat normally in the kind of basic side posture like this, the guitar does sit a little bit on the low side, so your picking hand is it's quite far down. But other than that, it's pretty balanced. There isn't really a massive amount of dive one way or another. The only real concern is look at the size of this upper horn. It extends more than twice the length of the lower horn, and it's just asking to be bashed into something for you to turn around and go bang. Yeah, that's really like the biggest area of concern where you're going to have to be careful when you're playing this thing. Playing this thing in the classical position like so, which is my preferred position anyway, this is really nicely balanced. That long upper horn actually helps to kind of counterlever it against your knee. It sits in a really natural position, just like you would play it if you were stood up. Ergonomically, this really is comfortable to play. You know, it's not really a case of like a flying V would be, where you have to make this trade-off of kind of sitting like a bit of a gimp, you know, and kind of like making do. It sits great. It feels really nice to play. I've long said on this channel with Solar in particular, I think one of the best things they do with their range is ergonomics. And this, again, is a prime example of it. You know, you have these really nice beveled edges to the body The neck profile is nice. It's a thin C, and it's definitely on the thin side. It's not one of these thin Cs that's just nothing like a thin C. So, ergonomically, in some respects, this thing is a pleasant surprise. The only other ergonomic kind of point to make you aware of is the placement of the input jack, which is right here. It's a barrel jack, which is quite a nice premium feature, but be aware that it is out of the way enough that it's probably not going to bother you playing in the classical position, but if you're playing in kind of the standard position, it's just kind of going to be poking up and out, which may look a little bit weird. Really, with an X-shaped guitar or a flying V, my personal opinion is that there isn't a good place to put an input jack on one of those guitars. Anywhere you put it is going to be some type of trade-off. This really isn't too bad, in my opinion. The next most important thing I think to talk about is build quality. Something that Solar Guitars really hasn't done very well at. Solar Guitars has only been around about 4 or 5 years, something like that. In guitar lifetimes, that's just like nothing, especially when you look at the big boys like, you know, the Gibsons, the Fenders. You know, if you buy a guitar from them and it's come out of the factory in absolute state, you know, it really is kind of like something that you shouldn't really tolerate. When you look at the Solars I've reviewed previously, every single Solar guitar that's come to me, brand new mind, has had some sort of QC problem. Mostly cosmetic. A couple of times I've had just dead kill switches, I've had just pots give out on me. When this guitar arrived, there was an amount of trepidation, and I thought, okay, what am I going to find on this thing now? I am incredibly pleased to tell you that this guitar has basically no QC issues whatsoever. Everything about it is spot on. Fretwork, really nice, not sharp, no paint, no tooling marks, nothing. The nut is set properly, there are no gaps, it doesn't protrude, there's no glue residue, any of that crap. Pickup cavities are cut nice and clean, no issues there whatsoever. Switchgear, no complaints. It clearly is still the same kind of bargain basement switchgear that's on most of the guitars, so there are maybe questions about longevity there. The only flaw with this guitar that I've identified is on the tip of the upper horn. The finish is slightly rough. I'm not sure if it's not been sanded correctly, or maybe in the manufacturing process it's actually been chipped and they've had to touch it up before sending it out. It kind of stands out because the rest of the satin finish on this guitar is done so nicely. So that's the only issue with this guitar, and this thing is brand new, you know, not a B stock. Should that be there on a guitar at this price point? I'm not 100% sure, like it's not terrible. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this something that you could kind of allow at this price point, and considering the rest of the package being so good? I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. Now, talking of price point, when I ordered this guitar, it was $899 on Solar's website. Solar sell direct to consumer, which unfortunately means you are liable for any customs or import charges that may be levied on having this guitar shipped to you. So after I paid customs fees, all that kind of thing, it was just over £1,000. Now, in the time it's taken to get this guitar here and shoot a review on it, the price has actually increased again. It's now to $949. So this is comfortably going to be over $1,000 in the US, you know, over £1,000 in the UK. Is this £1,000 guitar? Really, I keep kind of asking myself that. In terms of the way it looks as a proposition, you know, it's totally unique. Nobody else is selling this shape. You know, other companies do X-shaped guitars. You have the Jackson Warrior, you have the Dean ML, you have the Ibanez Xiphos. I hope I'm saying that right. Yes, there are other X-shapes on the market. The specs of this guitar, to me, do not scream £1,000. Nickel frets, stock Far East Duncan Solar pickups, a PPS nut. PPS is a posh word for plastic nut, basically. PPS is kind of a purpose-built plastic for guitar nuts, so you would hope it would be like fairly decent. Now, on the subject of the PPS nut in this guitar, unfortunately, it does live up to the reputation of every guitar I've ever played with a plastic nut. That is, it absolutely refuses to stay in tune unless you are playing it incredibly gently. I recorded just over half an hour of footage of myself playing this guitar for this video. During that half an hour, I had to stop to retune probably half a dozen times. As soon as you start picking hard and playing in a spirited fashion, doing bends, this thing just absolutely will not stay in tune. So unfortunately, you are going to have to budget to replace the nut on this guitar with something that's proper. It's disappointing that once you've paid £1,000, this metal-focused guitar does not seem to be up to the task of handling metal playing whilst maintaining tuning. Now, appreciate it, at the time of doing this review, we're halfway through 2023 and prices on everything have gone insane. But, you know, I had a quick look around today just before I shot this review, and I kind of looked at purely on spec terms, what could I get for £1,000, you know, and I've found multiple Evertune equipped guitars with proper EMG pickups with proper stainless steel frets. This is the entry-level model. It's the X2.6. Obviously there is the X1 series, which is more expensive than this. You're talking around the 1,300 mark, and for the extra money you will get stainless frets, you will get appointments more becoming of a guitar at this price point. I guess my position and my feelings on it are, on paper this isn't £1,000 guitar. In the hand, in person, you look at it, you feel it, you play it, you're like, yeah, this feels about £1,000, you know, it really makes a statement visually. £1,000, 12 months ago, that would have just been flat out overpriced. In 2023, I don't really know, because what's the new normal now for £1,000? Is it this? I really don't know. One thing I can say in favour of the price of this guitar is that it comes with a monster of a hard shell case. And if you want to see a bit more of that case, check out the unboxing video I did of this guitar when it arrived. That's great. I'm really glad that comes with this guitar. Oh, I just have this incandescent rage at very expensive guitars not coming with anything, no gig bag, nothing. So the fact this comes with a proper hard shell case, even at the entry-level model, fantastic. But I really do want to know what you guys think. Is this £1,000 guitar in your eyes? I do have to say, I think Solar have really missed the trick with the specs of this guitar, no matter what model you buy. And that at the time of doing this video, this guitar is only available with 22 frets. You know, you lead guys are going to have to make do without access to 2 full octaves across the fingerboard. This is, you know, probably a lead guitarist's guitar, you know, and as much as I am probably much more of a rhythm guy than I am a lead guy, I really think that this guitar must have 24 frets. I guess the biggest thing that you were going to want to know is, for your £1,000, well, how does it sound? Here's a selection of tones using the brand new Headrush Prime modelling pedal board, which is a fantastic unit, by the way. There's a full video coming up on that soon. I have reviewed a whole bunch of Solar's guitars now with these pickups in. These are the Duncan Solar pickups. They are standard Chinese-made, own-brand Solar pickups. And whilst they are perfectly fine, serviceable, you know, not offensive, they are medium output, they are voiced in a neutral way, so you can effectively dial in, you know, whatever tone you like. As with any kind of budget own brand pickup, there are what I like to call unwanted guests. So you get unwanted frequencies and characteristics with these pickups. You get muddiness with the neck pickup that needs to be dialed out. You get chaotic high-end fizz with the bridge pickup when you're playing high gain stuff. As a kind of interesting sort of comparison, you know, here's me playing this guitar through a high gain rig, but also straight after, here's what that exact same rig sounds like with my Fishman equipped BC Rich on its passive voicing. Now, hopefully that illustrates the point to you, just to show you what you do get from a proper aftermarket set of pickups. I mean, not so much just in tone, but just in terms of a cleaner sound with less like unwanted frequencies. Do let me know what you think and whether you think that these pickups are something you could live with, or if there's something that you would have to budget to swap out. Really, let's come back to that overall question. Is this worth £1,000? I don't know if I would spend my own money and keep this thing at its current price point. It looks the part, it feels the part. Despite all that, you are still buying a set of specs that is really appropriate for anything down to the kind of £400 price point, maybe even a touch less. If I'm spending £1,000, I want better specs than this. However, let's not forget, as I said, this thing's totally unique. It's really well executed ergonomically. It feels fantastic to play. It looks the absolute business, and it comes with a hard shell case. So it's not without its pluses. Do let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I always appreciate the banter and the discussions that we have. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, please do subscribe to my channel. It really does support more videos and it encourages me to keep plowing on with the content for you guys. Thank you so much to everybody who has supported me via the Buy Me a Coffee link as well. Your financial donations, no matter how small they are, even if it is just to cover a cup of coffee, they are super appreciated and they really motivate me to keep digging deep with producing this content for you. Until the next chilled review, take care of yourselves and I'll see you soon.